Hello everyone, welcome back. Fanciest channel on YouTube is back. Long time no see. Yi back here again. Not GUI. And today I'm going to be showing you how to expose your services in. Well, I've given you a spoiler, so I'm going to show you how to expose your deployments in Kubernetes, and the answer is services. Let's get right into it. So long story short, what we have here is the same app that we have deployed last time. It is just a Echo app that just grabs your request in HTTP GET and responds it back with the same headers and body. That's it. As simple as that. So to do the deployment of this app, I've created this Docker file. Same thing as the last video. Check it out. It's probably down in the description. And here as well, I have a deployment. Now, for this example, I was using a different cluster. For now, I'm going to use a kind cluster. Kind is not because I'm kind, but rather Kubernetes in Docker. So you can see here actually it running on my podman PS. I have just the control plane of the Kubernetes running my Kubernetes node in Docker podman. But anyways, if you want to know more about it, just let me know down in comments. But essentially here, I want to deploy that into a cluster so it is just segregated from everything else. I can test, I can do whatever I want. It's usually the best case for you to test things locally first before you go somewhere else. Regardless, here it is. We have that container running that runs Kubernetes, and then we're going to run our Kubernetes container. We're going to run our deployment into that Kubernetes cluster running in Docker, which is Podman. Confused yet? Hopefully not. But anyways, let's run it, right? So we have the same app, same thing. What we have to do though is load this app into the cluster because it's a kind cluster, and this app is not really published in Docker Hub. And if you see here, when you don't have really the domain where to pull it from, it's just going to try to pull it from Docker Hub. We don't want that. So we want to pull it from, what have I done here? From localhost. And to pull from localhost, I'm going to have to build that into Echo here. I've done some prep in the background, but essentially this is what you have done. So you build that up using podman build, put a tag on it, then you're going to save it. So podman save, and not this guy, no. Podman save, and then echo to this. I'm going to save that image into the Echo tar. So it's going to take a little while there because it's a Python image. For some reason, dependencies on Python can be pretty hefty. And if I show you here, you can see that it's like 1.3 gigabytes. So it's a little hefty. We can make it much smaller. Let me know if you want to see how that works. But essentially, this is what it is. And now we can do kind and load, and then we're going to grab and load that image into the podman node, into the kind node. So essentially Kubernetes knows how to pull that from localhost. So that takes a little while there. It's just essentially moving from my disk to the disk of that node, but still it goes through. And now we can do ks. So ks is essentially just this kubeconfig file. Grab it as much as you want. This is just my kind cluster here. And I can do ks because alias ks, and you can pass your kubectl a kubeconfig file like this. So this is what it does. So it's just an alias, so it's easier. And then we can do apply, and again, spoilers, apply a deployment. Okay, deployment. And we don't have that y. I do. ks apply -f deployment. Did I have a typo there? Probably did. Okay, cool. And anyways, if we got the pods now, we have it running there. All good. But now we know from looking at the deployment.yaml that we have it listening on port 8080. How do we reach that pod? So that's the challenge that you get when you are in Kubernetes, right? So say we have a now we have a cluster here, and I have a secondary app running. Let's say I'm gonna just grab an Ubuntu one, right? So I'm gonna grab a new terminal, and I'm gonna do cd ks 101, and then alias ks is this guy, and then ks run it Ubuntu. So it's just like an Ubuntu image. So Test. There we go. All right, cool. Oh, and I have to do here, I'm gonna run bash. Cool. Oh, it already exists. KS get pods. Oh, it is running. Okay, cool. Now it is running an Ubuntu image. I'm just running that test pod, and I can do ks exec it test, and I'm gonna use bash there. Cool. So this is a Ubuntu image running into the same cluster, right? And if I grab here now, ks get, sorry, alias ks, and then ks get pods, you see that it's running there. But how do we reach it? See, that's a problem, right? So we can do I have curl here? I might have to install it. Wget. No, okay. I have to install curl. I might have to do, yeah. One sec. So we can do here is do a ks get pods, and then wide. You can see here that we grab a IP address here, and we might be able to reach it out. Let's take a look, shall we? So apt install curl, and let's do that, right? So let's test it out. So let's curl there into port 8080. It does respond, doesn't it? But how do we get this IP address? See how this gets complicated? Especially since, let's do something interesting. Let's do a scale of the deployment and give it not 10, but let's say 3 replicas. Let's start small, right? And now, if we go back here and then get the pods, you're gonna see that each one of them gets a new IP address in their own little subnet. And now, if I go back here and I only go to the same pod, only the same pod is gonna reply. Wouldn't it be nice if we could do like something like, I don't know, go to the Echo app on port 8080 and grab something. If only we could resolve that host. Hint, hint. All right, cool. So the way to do that is actually creating a service. Essentially is we can map that name resolution so the cluster understands what to resolve to, which IP address to resolve to. So let's add a new service here. And this is just a snippet. So like easy enough. You just create a service. Usually the way that I go, I either have a snippet or I go to the resource definition in the kubectl CLI, or you go to the Kubernetes documentation. Pretty extensive. Feel free to take a look there. It's pretty great. I really recommend it. But regardless, I'm going to just call the service an Echo service. I'm going to call it on TCP. And I'm going to listen on same port 8080, and I'm going to target the port 8080 of the other container. Now, the interesting bit here is the selector. This is how we tell Kubernetes, okay, you're going to listen on port 8080, and you're going to redirect to port 8080, but to where? So you need to select the apps that have these labels. So if you look back here into the deployment, we have these labels here that are used for the template of the pods. That means that they're going to have an Echo app label. I was going to make a mistake there, but now no more. So now the service knows, hey, whenever you receive something on your IP address on port 8080, redirect to port 8080 for these apps here. And it's going to make sense. Give me one sec. So now if we can do a ks apply, and let's do it for the service. Now we have something called a service. So ks get services. You can see now that we have a different IP address of this cluster IP. So let's take a look at that, right? So if we do curl of this guy on port 8080, look at that. It replied. But how do we know that the pod that I went to is different every time? Ah, that is interesting, eh? So there's a way. What we can do here now is I'm going to use stern. Stern is a command that just grabs the output of the logs of all the pods based on regex. So essentially I'm getting all the logs here. And now what we can do here is do the same command over and over. And you're going to see that we have different pods replying to us. Still though, how do we get this IP address? Doesn't make sense, doesn't it? So do I have an S lookup? I do not. Okay. Apt install DNS utils. All right. So I'm just going to go and grab something real quick. Remember the name, and let's just do here. Well, not like this. Maybe like this. Remember the name of the service? So if you look at there, sorry, alias, KS services. If you look at the name of the service there, it's called Echo. What happens if we try to resolve the name Echo? See that IP address right there? So the Echo name, from now on, because we registered it as a service, it gets registered as a name resolution for this cluster IP. That means that other apps that are running in the same namespace can directly reach them out by their name. Isn't it amazing? So we can just do curl echo on port 8080, and there we go. Now we have a consistent way. Do I have watch here? Curl echo 8080. Now we have a consistent way to be reaching out, and I'm going to just do this in a loop every 2 seconds here to show you that we can do requests to that service by doing name resolution just as easy. And you see, it round robins it regardless of our configuration here. All we did was just say, hey, I want to reach the Echo service. And what's more, right now we're doing it locally, but what if we made a service of type load balancer? Well, my friends, this is what happens when we do so. Let me do kubectls apply. And now if you look at the service here, KS get services, you're going to see that now we have an external IP. Now, this depends on the type of cluster or distribution of Kubernetes you're using, but essentially here, this guy, my friends, allows us to create an external IP address. Now, what does it mean external? It can be external to your subnet, it can be external to the public. So in the future, if you would like to see more, I can show you how to run your own Metal LB, which is a type of load balancer, to expose your services directly from your bare metals Kubernetes cluster. Or if you like, this is what I do mostly for my job, I can work with clusters from GCP, from AWS, from Azure to expose your services using Azure Load Balancers or ELBs in AWS. But this is how you expose your services. And by doing so, you can see that you can make your apps talk to each other in an easier manner. There are many ways to do that as well in other, domain name resolutions. So let me know down in the comments if you would like to see more. But for now, thank you for everyone. It's been a pleasure to have you here with me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.